Christopher Rodriguez on YouTube says more starters dropping like flies for the 49ers. WTF? I mean, why are we surprised?
Really quick, that's a saying that drop like flies. Have you ever tried to kill a fly? They're hard to drop. You know,
that's why you just
be like
lock
dropping
them
like
inside,
ants,
and you just close all the doors, and eventually they drop. I don't know. It's a good question. I wonder why. Is there I've never seen a fly die.
Well,
on its own.
Seen them. Yeah, I've seen them get hit, but a lot of times when you're hitting them, you got to swing about 55 million times before you even get them.
I want to see a fly you never see an engine blow out. Like, oh, we lost another one.
No.
You never see that.
Well, that's the opposite with the Niners. Like they do drop. They do drop at every rapid rates. I mean, they lost three. They lost 3 starters week 1. There's an element we've been talking over and over. You can change your trainers. You can train your doctors. It's still football. You're going to lose some guys. I think we talked about this on or off the air. It feels like we've never seen the cart come out. Like in week 1, I swear to God, I saw the cart come out.
A lot of, and you mentioned this. A lot of teams right now.
25 times. It happened. It came out 3 times in the Raven game. But 3 starters week 1. 3 starters. Like it's one thing to lose a couple players, right, to ankle injuries or whatever. 2 of them to ACL injuries, and then, I mean, Greenlaw had surgery on an area that, like, I'm sorry.
Which area?
Groin.
Oh.
So if you break a hand or even like break a foot, at least it just is what it is. You broke it. To me, when the hamstring stuff, surgery in that area, shoulder stuff, like I don't just, he'll come back, he'll be fine. He's a run and hit linebacker, right? He's not some big burly slow just tackler where it's like he doesn't need to be moving fast. Like when I watched Dre Greenlaw, he had a pick 6 in that. Like to me, one of the things he hangs his hat on is athleticism. So now, where does your athleticism come from? Your fucking legs. What connects your legs to your body? Like that thing. That's
fucking Dr. Middlecoff right there.
But do you agree? Like that's not. Yeah. I think people are just casually like 4 to 6 or 6 to 8. Like I don't know. That could. When I was at Fresno State, and guys would have the hernia or anything in that area, like you might just disappear for 6 months.
Right.
I would look at it. He's different than Raheem. Like Raheem has been hurt a lot. This guy has been pretty reliable for them for a couple of years. Very enjoyable, just solid member of a good defense. This is a pretty big injury. And clearly they acted like after the game, it's just, we'll see. It went from a we'll see to like, yeah, he's got cut up on 2 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is where, and you mentioned this to me before we started recording, this was or is a position of depth for them. So we'll see if it still is, right?
Part of having Fred Warner or a Ray Lewis or a Bobby Wagner, like one guy in that unit, unlike the defensive line, if you just have Khalil Mack and no one else, or Nick Bosa and no one else, it's hard to just like, you can still make an impact, but you just need a little help. Like if I put Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman with 2 random linebackers, they're still going to dominate. So to me, as long as 54 is in there, even if, the domino effect of moving, I can never say his name, 51 to 57 spot, and then the 3-name guy.
Shire.
Yeah. I mean, they got some moving parts. As long as Fred Warner's there, I do think you feel like that guy could make 20 tackles a game. Yeah. And he literally might have to. Now, he makes a lot of money to do that.
Like I said last week, this week after the Lions game, it's a little early to be talking about like how many snaps everybody was playing on defense because they played a lot of snaps on defense. But
what'd you say? 85?
Yeah, 80, 83, 85, something like that.
And you know what? Isn't that a lot for college, let alone the NFL?
It's a ton.
I mean, 85
ton
snaps?
Of plays. Now, the one thing, Alshire got hurt in that game and came back. And it's actually pretty damn good. Like, he's a really good player.
Do you have the box score up?
No, but I can get it.
I was just wondering how many tackles Fred Warner had in that game. Like, I mean, do you remember Willis and Bowman, like, in their prime? Both of them would be like, one guy had 19, the other guy had 17. They account, so if there was 50 plays in the game, they accounted for 75% of the stops.
Not to mention, they remember the Patriots game? I mean, this happened a lot because they played special teams where they each played, like, one of them played 94 of 95 snaps and the other one played 95 of 95.
I do.
Something like that. Wasn't that road game? Wasn't that the rainy comeback?
Yeah, it was the one in the weird weather
in New England. Stats on.
I got it.
Okay, what you got? 11 for Fred Warner.
Yeah, leading tackler.
Yeah.
But that 11 might have to turn into, 14, 15 because
Alshire. Yeah.
Greenlaw
Go
had
ahead.
6. I mean,
Alshire had
Greenlaw did
7.
have a pick 6 in that game, right? I mean,
He's
that's-
made big play. That's you right. Like on a defense that you go, okay, who are the playmakers off the, you got the playmakers, the first couple are pretty easy to find. Bosa, Fred Warner. Who are the rest of them?
Well, when you're watching Sunday football, if you're listening to this, think of the most of the defensive playmakers on Sunday now. Like back in the day, I ran into Romanowski a couple of days ago at the gym. Now, he wasn't athletic. He even hypes up he was actually more made for now than he was even back then because he was a speed cover guy and he just got bigger because that's what it demanded. But a lot of linebackers and just a lot of guys historically on defense, Gilbert Brown, you just had big guys. You didn't have to run as fast. Now the game is spread, it's running. Most playmakers on defense now are big time athletes. Now, relative to the NFL, you know what I mean? Like more athletic than maybe they were 20 years ago, just in terms of speed. Like when I watch Greenlaw, is that guy a 4-5 guy? Because he just fucking flies around. So you just lose a speed demon. Like I thought all 3 linebackers, obviously Fred's play speed's elite. That's part of back to the Bowman and Willis. They were elite players, but part of what made them so elite is it felt like when they ran, like there weren't many people on the field that were running faster, right? So it's like I'm chasing you and I'm going to catch you, or we're both running to the corner because you're going to try to get around an outside run, and I'm going to beat you there, and then I'm going to fucking destroy you. And I'm not saying Greenlaw is quite that, but the more and more speed you have on the field, like that's the Niners' one problem at corner, losing Verrett. Like Verrett can run. So now it's like, Mosley's not a speed guy. If Norman has to play, he's not a speed guy. You just start, Dre Kirkpatrick, who they signed, like the more and more of these guys are just kind of these bigger, longer, you just lose speed on your team.
Yeah. And that is, unlike linebacker, not a position of depth. Cornerback. Yeah. That one still is more, I mean, that's that one. I don't. Verrett gets hurt. I hate to say this, and I said this the other day, and I hate to say this too. Like, I'm just holding my breath on Nick Bosa. It's one thing when a bunch of guys get hurt one year and a bunch of different guys get hurt the next year. Verrett didn't get hurt, ironically, last year, right? When guys who have injury history get hurt, I can't view that as just bad luck. It's bad luck for them, for Jason Verrett, and it sucks. But injury history is part of what you evaluate when you're drafting and when you're signing free agents. How much are you willing to invest in a guy? And I get why he believed in himself and did a 1-year deal. And, is Javon Kinlaw ever going to be healthy for extended periods of time? At this point, what would you bet? I'm not saying I know one way or the other, but at this point, I'd have to bet no. That's what I have to bet based off the information that we have right now.
I text with someone who's relatively close to the team yesterday. Doesn't, not like a scout or coach or anything, and just brought up, and I think we've used this word before, and it's out there, but degenerate knee. Anytime you say that, like it's just a ticking time bomb, or it just doesn't get any better. Like that was part of the deal with Gurley. That was part of like this quote unquote management. Now, unlike speed guys, it happens sometimes with running backs coming out of the draft. Remember Jay Ajayi, the dude from Boise State? He was going to go like top like 40 picks, right? He would have been like one of those first picks in the second round, but then he had a knee that was like, he's a 1 contract guy. He ended up going in the 4th round. Remember, he was a good player, but his career just kind of ended at like 27. His knees just went. And I remember talking to guys in Philly, they traded for him and his knee was just kind of shot, but they would just manage him, get him the game. If that is truly the case with this guy, that's a disastrous pick. There's no way around it. That's a disastrous decision. Disastrous.
Disaster.
Yeah. Disastrous.
It's one thing,
especially now moving forward, where you're just like, when's the next time they're going to sniff picking a guy at 14? They don't even have fucking picks.
No, John. And the other thing that happens when a player is sometimes available and sometimes not available is you don't move on. So you're constantly in this limbo of like, 2022, if we can just get him fully healthy and then, back to his old self, he's going to be plug in the middle. It's like, again, we've had 1 week of this season, but
I've said over and over, I think the worst type players, I'd rather just have you play a lot and not be good. Like Solomon Thomas or Cleveland Farrell. Just like, this guy's available every week for 3 years. He's just not good enough. He's got to be a backup. We're going to eventually move on. Then like, you go out to practice, look at Jalen Hurd standing next to these other guys. He is by far our best. Look at Kinlaw. Stand Kinlaw next to Bosa. You tell me who you take walking off the bus. Well, yeah. I mean, he looks incredible. You and I have been around the NFL, going to these practices, going to these games for a decade plus now, seeing everything from Pro Bowlers to scrubs. He looks like what it's supposed to look like. But when he's an injured guy like he is, clearly, and just someone that's going to battle this knee issue, I would rather just have him just not be good enough than what he's going to hold them hostage a little bit. In fairness, they're hostage the moment they pick them. They can't really just throw, I mean, they're just in bed with them now for a minimum 4 years. But given the importance of the pick, the moment they do this Trey Lance deal, that one's, and then you just factor in the short-term ramifications. I was texting with Greg Papa. I'm like, one issue you have with the wide nine and these defense, and you and I talked about this, I think, last week, or maybe right after the game. Like,
Yeah.
Even if you're going upfield, if you just have a Fletcher Cox body type or a Kinlaw, even if his job is not like hold the double team while all the other guys hunt, even if he's getting upfield too, he's just, taking up more space. The other guys, their rotation of the little guys, they all kind of look the same body types, right? 6'1", 6'2", 3 bills and fast, which is cool. But once they start playing, I was actually thinking about this the other day. They might just get a little lucky that most teams, we'll see even Sean McVay, definitely the Seattle teams in their division kind of want to throw it.
Right.
If this was like, I don't think you could do what they were doing in 1998 because these teams will be like, we'll run it 45 times on you. But it's like Sean McVay's like,
the problem is
I want to throw it to Stafford.
But McVay is happy to
He
run
will. He will.
too.
But Pete, their best players are wide receivers, and definitely Cliff, they're going to throw.
Yeah. You think Chris Carson can run through some of those holes, though?
Yeah, I mean, they would. I mean, he hired McVay guys, but just watching them against the Colts, like, and I don't blame them. It's like DK and Tyler. Russell wants to throw bombs.
Yeah.
I was watching some of Pete's. It just got tweeted into my timeline, like a 2-minute clip.
The let Russ cook thing?
Yeah, he's like, I didn't mean to say that. You guys are just going to let this
He was
go.
legitimately mad that he had said,
Well,
just let Russ and Shane cook.
He said that Russ was really cooking. And don't you think it was a little Freudian slip? Like, I don't think he meant it like let Russ cook. I just meant Russ was hot.
Not.
We were just riding him.
Yep, absolutely.
You see Pete turned 70 yesterday?
I only knew that because I watched that game. I accidentally clicked the full version of that game instead of the 30-second version. And Kevin Harlan is like, no, not Kevin Harlan.
Burkhardt.
Kenny Albert is doing the coach intros. And he's like, Frank Reich, 4th year. Pete Carroll turns 70 on Wednesday. I was like, damn.
Well, I saw Schrager or a Sando or a guy like that tweeted like, this seems crazy when you say it out loud, and then you factor in Saban will turn 70 in October. Belichick turns 70, I think, either early 2022, and same with Arians. You're like,
Arians?
Yeah, Arians is older than you think.
Yes, he is.
That Temple photo when he was coaching, like he was like 40 in 1983.
So all the coaches are either 70 or 39. Then that's what's happening right now. Where are the 59-year-old coaches?